Mr Speaker, I've enjoyed sitting listening to the debate of predominantly members of the Commerce Committee that are reporting back on this bill today, but I did feel rather sad actually when I heard the member opposite Melissa Lee talk about that rhetoric about what did Labor do over the last 9 years. And many of us, well, that's not true, and as a relatively new member, I think that shows the naivety of firing those barbs across the House when the member just comes into the House after we've had 2 hours of fantastic debate and agreement. No one opposes this bill. But I just want to point out, while we're talking about the Minister of Commerce bringing this into the House in urgency today, that is 18 months after that government took the reins of power, and that is a long time when, and it was 2006 that Leanne Dalziel, as the Minister, actually introduced the first discussion document. And let's look at the environment at that time. That was the beginning 4 years ago of when we started to feel nervous about the financial market and about investment companies. And since that time, 30 companies have gone to the wall and collapsed. So it has only been in the last 4 years that this environment started to cause some great unrest. And the Minister then moved very quickly to get a discussion document moving around the financial and investment sector, and as a result of that introduced 2 bills into Parliament, and they were supported by the National Party. And so that is not doing nothing about sitting back and watching crash and burn of a financial sector. And I just wanted to put that on the record and acknowledge Leanne Dalziel's contribution. I was an electorate MP at the time when the blue chip disaster started to occur and started to get members travelling actually over from Tauranga because of the membership there at the time, the representation, to my office in Rotorua, desperately seeking some help because they weren't what I'd actually call mums and dads investors. They were sophisticated investors. They invested up to 100,000, but they had a degree of naivety in believing how they were conned by blue chip at the time. And the Minister came to a meeting in Tauranga and met with these investors, a whole room of them, and they wanted the Minister to be able to do something there and then to save and protect their money, and now they have other avenues of address to try to recoup some of those massive losses of life savings, which were incredibly sad. So the Minister moved really quickly with the Financial Advisers Act in 2008 and the Financial Service Providers Act. And at the same time in that environment, the Labor government was looking at regulating other professions such as the police, and we'd also done a major legislative reform program on health professionals. And so financial advisers were another sector that really was ripe for the plucking at that time in that environment. And I just wanted to put that on the record. I thought it was sad to hear, after the consensual way that the Commerce Committee has worked, and it was reflected today actually by the technical experts in this debate were clearly on the Labor side of the House. I have to say, I appreciated the contribution from Sam Lotoainga, who put a perspective in there, and also Melissa Lee, but the actual technical expertise sat with the Minister here now sitting on the opposition benches, and I wanted to put that right. I also feel very strongly, I'm not an electorate MP now, but I am getting concerns coming to me as a list MP about loan sharks. And I think that's a category in here, another class, that I really do urge the government look at. I think this is evolutionary legislation. This is a piece of amending legislation to allow implementation of the regime. But I do believe that government now has to look at the principles of Carol Beaumont's Members' Bill, because that is just just another category, the loan sharks, that really have to be regulated, and we have to move quite swiftly on this. And this was the perfect tool to bring that, those considerations in the Committee of the Whole through a SOP, and what a missed opportunity that will be. And it will be the Labour members in opposition that will be holding government to account on that issue.
Dr. Astor.